Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel, and in our top stories today, yes, the Democrat darling Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the non-Maryland man, and as we can see here, the bias distribution here on the left, the center, and the right. So we're going to start off on what they consider to be the left, the MSNBC, and they say judge temporarily blocks Trump from deporting Kilmar Abrego Garcia to Uganda. And this is the continuing pattern of obstruction. But these are really just roadblocks that the Democrats throw out there, because it's interesting how I see often in a lot of my social media across the board, people complaining that Trump is doing nothing. But really, in reality, if he's doing nothing, then how is it the Democrats are doing so much to try to stop him? Why would you try to stop someone who is doing nothing? And that's just kind of a generalized scope that I just wanted to share that with you. But let's go ahead and see what they say from MSNBC here.
From Baltimore, and with me here, Veronica Cardenas, former assistant chief counsel for ICE. Gary, I know there had been this offer for a plea deal that he refused. Tell us everything else we know.
So as Kilmar Abrego Garcia was walking out of federal custody on Friday afternoon, his attorneys were working behind the scenes on this potential plea deal. And there were a couple options that appeared to be on the table all weekend. One of them was to plead guilty to the 2 charges against him in Tennessee on human smuggling, to serve that time in a federal prison in the U.S., and then be deported to Costa Rica, who has said they would welcome him as a refugee, let him free, and of course he could speak the language, Spanish, in Costa Rica. The other option was to be deported to Uganda as soon as Wednesday and not plead guilty to those charges in Tennessee. It does seem like things are leaning towards the Uganda route, but his attorneys are fighting tooth and nail to try to prevent his deportation to Uganda, considering it potentially a dangerous place for him to be.
Now, it's important to note here that they're trying to offer him a plea deal. And I would argue that his attorneys and or the Democrats are not looking at the best interest for Abrego Garcia, because he could enter the plea deal and then go to Costa Rica. Why would he want to go to Uganda? That would be the worst possible option. But you see, it's not going to impact the Democrats. It's not going to impact his attorneys if he goes to Uganda. And so I think he's being used. It should be very obvious here that he's not, I would say, as a person, Kilmar, he wants to be where he's the most comfortable, and that's going to be probably going to Costa Rica. But I would argue that his attorneys, or probably the Democrats, are trying to say, no, we're going to fight this, and we can fight this for you. Look what we were able to do. And that, I don't think they had much to do with the ability to bring him here to the United States to go to these trials. But they're playing a game with this man's life, right? I mean, they're making this all political, and it's obvious that it's political. As you see here, Kilmar Abrego Garcia cannot be deported for now after ICE planned to send alleged MS-13 gang members to Uganda. Judge rules. I like how they used alleged in here. And you can see here pictures with him and his wife. And of course, these are all, knee-jerk reactions. And I don't, I'm not saying that I have anything against them as human beings, or as foreigners. But, he was involved in crimes. I mean, he definitely was involved in crimes here, and needs to be prosecuted for it. But this continuing game of politics is not doing anyone any good. It's not doing the Democrats any good. It's not doing him any good, his family any good. A lot of it is optics. And as you can see here, a lot of these, the Blaze here is right. Of course, this is a Glenn Beck company, or his business, The Blaze. And Reuters, of course, I believe did they say Reuters was left? I didn't see here I didn't even see Reuters ranked here on that. And then, of course, where we're reading now from the New York Post, where we went just a second ago. And then, of course, we have, all the left coming in and chiming in as though, they know exactly what's going on. But, I'm not saying I have all the answers either. But what I can tell you, having worked in law, when I worked for the state, when we were there representing indigent defense, individuals who could not afford an attorney, they were assigned by the state. We were there to make sure that the judges weren't very happy with us being the ones who qualified. But that's another conversation. But the point being is, the DAs and so forth are always going to try to be making deals, right? So they can move these cases along, because the caseload can be huge. And we had huge caseloads, believe me, they were huge. And so, they're trying to make a plea deal here, and Garcia probably doesn't really know what all his options are, but because they've turned this into a political situation, he's going to be the most impacted by all this, and it's sad to see how the Democrats are willing to use people for their political agenda, and it's really sad. And we're seeing a lot of these changes by Trump because he said he was going to be the law and order president, and we've seen what he did. We covered this on the channel here, the federalization there in D.C., and this came out yesterday as of this recording. It is currently Tuesday, August the 26th. I have been letting a lot of the videos sit for 24 hours, so you guys know that I like to break the news to you as soon as I can, but I'm just trying to do a little bit of experimentation, so bear with me. But this came from J.D. Vance yesterday.
In the past 20 or 30 years, D.C. has averaged a murder every other day. That's, 200 murders a year, 150, 250, but about every other day a person has been killed on the streets of Washington, D.C. We've been doing this for 2 weeks. 0 people killed. That's real lives saved that the media and, frankly, the entire Democratic Party should be saying, thank you for saving lives instead of attacking the President of the United States for doing so. In the past 20 or 30 years...
And that's it, right? Because, as I say kind of a tongue-in-cheek way, sarcastically, the Democrats appear to want to be pro-criminal for the purposes of looking righteous, right? We're going to protect the innocent. We know they're criminals because they've been charged with things, but they want to be looked like anything to defy Trump, really. It's at this point, it's anything to defy Trump. And I made the argument, as you saw when I made other posts, that it appears that the Democrats want to protect the criminals because the criminals, their families, and their friends most likely vote Democrat. And that seems to quiet a lot of the Democrats down because that's the way it looks, right? And, of course, we just saw the executive signing of the flag burning here, and this is from Larry Conger. And this is apparently an individual who's now been arrested for burning the flag.
Yep, I'm being detained because I expressed my First Amendment right to burn the United States flag in public, not causing harm or causing any danger to any citizens or personnel in the area. Do this for every single one of you American citizens. We burn this flag in protest to that.
Okay, and it's important here in the notes here that Jay Carey was arrested in Lafayette Park after burning a U.S. flag and charged for violating 36 CFR, which prohibits unauthorized fires on federal property. The arrest and charges was because it was unauthorized on federal property, not because it was the U.S. flag. So see, there's always these additional stipulations that the left seem to overlook conveniently. And that is, of course, they're starting fires because arson is a crime, by the way, in case anyone didn't know. But here's what's even more interesting. You guys recall these individuals, these 3 kids, were charged with hate crimes because they rode their scooters over an LGBT mural that are painted in the streets. Now, according to our laws, most of them throughout the United States, streets and road signs are there to help drivers. They aren't there to send political messages or to advertise for particular groups. It's there. Streets and street signs are there, or markings are there for to protect people as they're driving and not to send political messages. But if you mark them up, they charge you with a hate crime. If you burn an LGBT flag, that's considered a hate crime. If you burn a Quran, the Muslim Bible, as it were, then that is considered inciting. So it is interesting to see the arguments or the pushback from the fact that people say, "Oh, well, burning the flag is a First Amendment right." It is, but remember, arson is not a right. But if you burn the LGBT flag or you burn the Quran, that's inciting. Or in this case with the LGBTQ, it is, in fact, a hate crime. But I welcome your thoughts and comments down in the comment section on your thoughts on all this that's going on with Abrego Garcia and Kilmar. They usually try to avoid saying his first name for obvious reasons. But nonetheless, guys, you let me know down in the comment section what your thoughts are on this. Are they continuing to use Kilmar as a political leveraging tool? It's sad to see it just in general, just because the politicking of all this is just sad, like we saw with the lawfare of Donald Trump. It's all rather ridiculous. But nonetheless, guys, thank you so much across NewTek, BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey for your guys' continued support. It is greatly appreciated. And, of course, everyone here on YouTube, you can find all my various social media links down below this video under the description, as you know, on X, as well as my affiliate marketing links. But, of course, your likes, your shares, and your comments do help out the channel tremendously, and I do appreciate all the support. Appearing there on the screen for all of you watching on YouTube, that would be the channel icon. You can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel, and I'll see all you guys in the next video.